Accessibility is about enabling everyone to fully participate in society without barriers. In this video, we'll talk about the roles and responsibilities of those who make purchases on behalf of the Government of Canada. This could be someone who is making the purchase themselves or someone who engages a contracting officer to make the purchase for them. Accessible procurement applies to all procurements from routine purchases, such as using an acquisition card to buy office supplies, to using a contract for multi-year projects. As of October 2019, the accessibility requirements of the Treasury Board contracting policy came into effect. Departments now have to consider accessibility whenever they buy on behalf of the Government of Canada. This means that you have to include accessibility criteria when specifying requirements for goods, services, and facilities, and ensure that deliverables incorporate accessibility features where appropriate. A clear justification must be on file when accessibility criteria are not included in the procurement. What does it mean to consider accessibility? Accessibility focuses on end users and how they will interact with the goods, services, and facilities you are procuring. This is not a one-size-fits-all approach. There's no one answer that will fit everything we buy. You have to give meaningful consideration to accessibility by identifying the barriers faced by your end users. Often, this means consulting your clients, your co-workers, or both. Don't assume that accessibility does not apply. People may be uncomfortable disclosing their impairments because of the stigma associated with disability or because of the intimate nature of their conditions. If none of your current co-workers or employees have accessibility requirements, you could consult with the network for persons with disabilities within your department. If your end user is the general public, you could again consult with the network for persons with disabilities or consult with disability advocacy groups. It can be very challenging to find a commodity that truly fulfills the needs of everyone because disability is diverse. But when all users' requirements are taken into consideration, we can meet the needs of the broadest spectrum of users. Our focus should be on ensuring adaptability and flexibility in goods and services procured to support an accessible workplace and accessible programs and services. It is also easier to make individual workplace accommodations when required if an adaptable framework is in place. Some standards for accessibility already exist. You could leverage those standards or portions of them in your requirements as a starting point. You might also find it helpful to refer to the principles of universal design. These principles can help identify accessibility criteria for your goods, services, and facilities. Universally designed products are all around us. You've probably used them without even realizing it. In general, a common-sense approach should be applied. Leverage end-user consultations, existing accessibility standards, and universal design principles to ensure that the goods and services being procured are inclusive by design and accessible by default. This reduces costs in the long run as flexibility is built into the design at the outset. You may have given meaningful consideration to accessibility, but still find that you are unable to include accessibility criteria in your specifications. This is when you would have to complete the justification form. Accessibility might not be applicable for the goods or services you're buying, like fuel. This is because the accessibility features would be in the equipment, like the vehicles, and not in the fuel itself. In other cases, accessible goods or services might not be available on the market. There could also be other reasons why accessibility is not included, and a written rationale outlining the reason would need to be kept in the procurement file. Through accessible procurement, the Government of Canada is removing and preventing barriers to equitable participation for more than 6 million people with disabilities in Canada, who are our colleagues in the public service or Canadians accessing government programs and services.
Please contact the Accessible Procurement Resource Centre through their general mailbox for any questions on accessible procurement.